Okay, how do I get badge? I'll just show you how you can see. If you have got a badge, so go to google.dev. This is the developer profile of yours, and that's my profile. If you go to your profile, you can see all the badges that you have got here. Mm, here are the badges. You can see the more you complete the tracks, the more badges you will earn. And one more thing, I had told last in the last session that we'll be giving out stickers to everyone who completes the badges and the certificate as well. So for being for to be eligible for those stickers and the certificates, you just need to send us a screenshot of this page so that we know ki, you have completed these many tracks, and likewise we'll send you the certificate and the stickers. We'll email you the certificate and physically mail you the stickers. Okay. I if लिंक ऑफ यूट्यूब लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग ओके अभिभव लिंक शेयर कर देना थोड़ा चैट में हाँ I have crossed 3 pathways in Google. A certificate will be given after you complete today's, that is for unit 1 you are saying na Harshita. So today we'll be looking at the second unit, which is uh, this one, start course. Sure. Okay. This one. So, what you completed is of this Kotlin Basics for Android. Today we'll be looking into this layouts. I had told some things about the layout, some basic things. So when you complete this part as well, we'll give out certificates to you. Okay, so I don't think we'll go beyond 9 participants. So 9 that too. Truly speaking, there are 6 participants. Okay, should we start? Anyway, it's 6:10. So we'll honor the people who have uh, participated in this year. So should we start? Just type a yes or no or in the chats. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a very close group now. So I hope to interact more with you. Okay. Uh, yeah, so we'll just go through some of the vocabulary of Kotlin. Last time I had just told you about variables and loop statement, I suppose, and what the basics of a function, right? So we all know what this is, like the most basic function, hello world. Okay, so we know this is going to print hello world. So now what I'll be telling you, I'll be telling this to you in brief, what are parameters and return types. So let me just okay. Okay, wait, no, will not go through this. Okay, this thing. Uh, I'll mutable and okay. So we'll let us start from this. Okay. So there are two kinds of variables that we had. There are two kinds of variables. I had only told you about variables. So there is one called a mutable variable, and is the other one is a immutable variable. So what does this mean? Mutable comes from the word mutate. Mutate means changing. So a variable which is subject to change is called a mutable variable, and something which is constant is called a immutable variable. For example, the constant like pi and the value of e and things like that, those are constants. So we can call them as immutable variables. So there may be some things in your app that you might want to make like that should not change. So you can make them immutable. Yeah, so immutable immutables are represented using VAL, while variables are represented using VAR. That is the subtle difference. Value never changes. Value is always a constant. It's the variable that can be changed. Okay, that is one thing. Uh, Next is what we call a conditional statement. So I would just show it to you here. Okay. So conditionals are like conditionals are a very basic step of how. Okay, what is immutable? You could you repeat? Okay, let's see. Let me give you an example. Let me have a variable called var var a equals 10. Okay, and I can write a equals a plus 10, which means to the variable a which contains 10, I will add another 10. So it should be 20, a plus 10, sorry. So when I print a, I should get 20 as the output, which I am getting. Okay. So this says that the value of a can uh, be changed. This is known as mutable variable. Okay. So, but what happens when I make this var as a val? Okay. So when I make this, it says that val cannot be reassigned. Means the one time that I have given it a value, you cannot change the value. You cannot mutate the value. So it is known as an immutable variable. Okay. So this is a immutable variable. Okay. So am I clear, Sahil? And now you don't even have to, you could just unmute your mic and speak up. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So next we'll go to what we call is a conditional statements. Okay. So let us take an example, conditional statement. So let us say we have to check if a number is odd or even. So what is the most basic logic that we have is it is whether the number is divisible by 2 or not, right? So what we can do is I'll just print, sorry, else print odd. Okay. So when I go, so this is known as a conditional statement. What happens is that uh, if else is known as a conditional statement. So what happens is that we pass an expression to if. We know that all the even numbers when divided by 2 give us a remainder of 0. Okay, so when we use this percentage sign over here, this means that we want to know what is the remainder when a is divided by 2. So I'll just explain it this way. Let us say print what do you say, 20 modulus 7. Okay, this is not needed. Okay, so if I say print 20 modulus 7, so we know the remainder will be 6. So this is known as a modulo function. And when we write 20 modulo 7, it means that we need to find the remainder when 20 is divided by 7. So in the same way here, so I had a var a equals 10. So when we know that when we divide a number by 2, the remainder is 0, we know that it is even. So let me do it like this. Okay, so what happens is that if this condition is true, then this block, anything that is kept in this block of code will execute while neglecting this block of code. Okay, but if this were to be false, then this block of code would not execute and this block of code would execute. Okay, so let us say an odd number if I take and I print, it will give me an odd, which means that this did not execute, but this executed. Okay, so this is a very fun basic of logic. Okay, so we can use simple logical statements to come up with bigger and more complex logics. Okay, so did you understand this one, everybody? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so the other thing here is this switch case. Okay, so hmm, yeah, switch case, we'll leave it for here. Okay, we'll explain it later. I just want to go to the classes. Okay, now I will go directly to the classes. Okay, so in the last session, I have told you things about classes and how they function. So what I said is we can derive the concept of classes from real world objects itself, right? Like anything that you take that has a basic set of features always, regardless of what type. It can be a type of student, the example that I was giving the last time around. Here, what I have done is I have taken the example of a car. Okay, so the car may be of any brand, but it comes under a class called car. Okay, like you and I are different, but we hopefully we both come together in a class called the humans. Okay, so something like that. So what I can do is I had yeah, so I have two options. Let us say that I have okay, yeah, let us say I have two cards that I want to keep track of in my code. Okay, so one way that I can do is var car1 name equals this. Then I can do var car1 what do you say, fuel capacity equals 20. Okay, sorry, 20 var car1 um, fuel sorry, speed equals 40. Okay, so and if I want to change this, I will have to separately change the variable change the value of the corresponding variable. And let us just think if there are 10 cars that I have to keep in mind. Okay, so I will just copy this and uh, paste it like this. Get it? So you see how tedious it is starting to look. So this is car one, car one. This I will make car two, car two, car two, car three, car three, car three, and so on. What we can take home from here is we know the basic that every car has a name, every car has a how many seats that it should have, how many, what is the fuel capacity of the car, what is the current speed of the car if you are tracking some car. Okay, so these things are common to any car that you see. And if you are looking at a car which does not have any fuel capacity, then I pity your state. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are creating a class called car. Okay, and we have defined that when we are making a car, we are defining that a car must have a name, a car must have a speed. We can add more values. I am starting out with this. Okay, so I am assigning, and then I want to play around with this with values, let us say. Okay, so I am assigning this speed. This speed is this where did it go? This one. Okay, so let me just write it as k so that you can, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm still in this, I'm still explaining the spirit of the example of class. Okay, so when I'm creating a class, when I'm creating a class, I'm mentioning that each car should have a name, each car should have a speed. This part that you see, this anything that we write inside this bracket is called a constructor, and that constructor is invoked every time you try to access a car, or like you try to make an instance of a car. It is the same like if you go to your friend and say I have bought a car, the friend will directly ask, kaun sa, which car have you bought? So you need to give out a name. Okay, so things like that. And it so your friend tried to make an object of the car, that class that you gave out, and he's asking you to give it give out the name. So you can think something like on that, on those lines. So we can define as many parameters, as many variables as we want. Right now we are just defining two for the simplicity's sake. Okay, so we are saying ki, there is a name, there is a speed. And now if we want to manipulate or we want to calculate something using that speed and that name, so we are giving assigning it to the variables that are inside the class. Okay, and now we have a function called increase speed. You can call it like we're increasing the acceleration. Okay, so what I have made this function do is, like the name itself suggests that this car has a current, is going on a current speed, and I want to increase its speed in, yeah. So what do I do? There is a function called increase speed, which will okay, wait, plus speed plus, let me write it this way, uh, speed minus. Okay, so what I'm doing here is this function, sorry, this function takes an input interval. You can name this anything. I have named it as interval, or I can name it by how much, anything. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am taking the current speed of this car, and I'm adding this variable by how much to this speed. Okay, like if the car is currently in 30 kilometer per hour, and I call this function, this function executes increase speed, and I provide it with a value of 10, what I'm basically saying is that I want to, the car which is at 30 kilometer per hour, I want to increase its speed by a number X, which I will be providing to it. So if I'm giving 10 kilometers, increase it by 10, so the final speed will be 40. And likewise for a decrease speed function. Okay, so when I said that functions literally mean they are to achieve some function in a class, in a program. Okay, so this is what, okay, so it is better explained with an example always, of course. Okay, so see here, in here we are making an object. This is called creating an object of a class. Okay, so here I am rich enough, so I have bought a Creta. Okay, so remember the last one, this the when we did this. Okay, so this is akin to naming this as a Creta. Okay, this is my first car, first of the many cars I'll be owning. Okay, so when I'm creating an object called Creta, I'm giving it a name. I'm giving it a speed, current speed. Okay, so see, the name corresponds to the first variable that I am asking for here, and the speed corresponds to the second variable that I'm asking for here. Okay, so I have my car ready, the object ready. Now, if someone has to increase the speed of this car, or not, and someone wants to see what is the car currently, current speed of the car, they can simply do print Creta dot speed. Okay, and when I run this, it is showing me 20, because it is 20. It is 20. Just think, like when our app starts or any software starts, we assign it with a value. Okay, but way after the app has already started, somewhere down the line someone wants, okay, I want to increase the speed of this car. So they will not go around searching for the variable that one line where they assigned the speed, right? So here, see how easy it is. So there is a variable called speed. I can access that variable using a dot operator, this dot operator. Okay. So if I want to access the speed of an object that I have created called Creta, which is a car type, so I'm going for Creta dot speed. Okay, you get the feel, like what is the structure going to be. If I want to know the name of this, in the same way, I can go for name, and it will print two lines. One is the speed and the other is the, okay, okay, I can print ln will give me two lines. Okay, print. Okay, you see this. Now let us say that I want to increase its speed. Okay, so what I do, I can increase. So any, if you want to access anything inside a car, the class, you access it using a dot operator. Okay, so if dot I do dot speed, I will get the speed. If I dot increase speed, then I will get, I can uh, execute this function, and we know that the function, that what this function does is increase the speed. Okay, increase speed. Increase speed by how much? I'll say 20, let us say. So we know that earlier it was 20, now it is again 20. So if I print it, then it should now the new now the new speed should be 40. Right. See, the first print statement is giving us the original speed, and after we increase the speed by 20, it is giving us a speed of 40. And likewise, we can decrease the speed as well. Okay, so if instead of increase, I call here decrease speed and run it. So it was 20 earlier, and now we have decreased it by 20. As you can see, there's a minus here. So it's a 0. Okay, you get the feel of it. So if I had to do this. Let me take the example of only two functions. Okay, so let us say that in this case I had to uh, play with the first of all, this itself looks very ugly, right? Now if I had to increase the speed of car one, I had to like something like this. There, this will be one function. Then I have to copy paste this. Yeah, car one increase, car two increase, car one. This will be decrease, car two decrease. Okay, because there is because all these are discrete. Yeah. Okay, so this looks very clumsy, doesn't it? Look, just think if there are 10 variables over here, so you have to write 10 20. So for each car you have an increase and a decrease. But here if I want to have alto, let us say, so this is as simple as doing this. It is a small car, so it's going at 10. That's it. I own a alto now. Okay, so if I do a print alto dot speed, it should throw out a 10, right? And it will throw out a 10. So now if you have 10 cars like this, and if you want to increase the speed, you just call the function here. So there is one function that we have written which can be utilized by all the cars that we are all the objects that we are making. Okay, that is way better than this approach, like having individual function for individual cars. Moreover, this is not dynamic, this is static. Like the programmer has to know, okay, in the road there will be 1,57,000 cars. So I have to write 1,57,000 functions. Once the software is built, you cannot change that because it is all static. But here it doesn't matter how many objects you make, there's one function to handle it all. Okay, so this is the basic gist of using classes and objects. Okay, and we will be using this concept throughout app development. Last session we did not venture into coding, we were just dragging and dropping. Okay, so today when we'll be going into the coding part, we will be using this dot operator a lot. Okay, so if you want to, let us say that text view, there was a text view last time. Okay, if you want to access the text of a text view, you will write text view dot text. Okay, because there is a class called text view and you want to access the text of the text view, so there's a text view dot text. Similarly, text view has there was an image. Okay, so I'll just show it to you once. Okay, so is this clear, or I know this may not be clear to all, so you may feel free to ask question. Any doubts? Any question? I believe that this is not the cleanest exam explanation, but I try to keep it as easy going as possible. So anyone, any doubts in the chat, or just unmute yourself and ask anything? Am I No, K does not signify anything. I just wrote it to distinguish this from this. Okay, so I can write here speed, and I can also write here speed. But you may be confused between this speed and this speed. So just to distinguish, I wrote this as a K. Okay, you can name it anything. Variables can be named anything. Okay, I just wanted to show key. I am writing this statement just to have this value assigned to this, so that I can play around or change the values. Okay, did I clear it? for you? Okay, thank you. Or koi, anyone else, please? Or this is a very important concept. Okay, this is the very foundation on which you're going to program, not only in Android but anything that you venture into. There is also something called inheritance, but for now I would like to keep it aside. Senior Anirudh, who is Senior Anirudh? Senior Anirudh. I Okay, it is fine. We are recording the session, so we'll say by how much. Yeah, that is a variable. So if I have to define like how do I say? So by how much is as I explained, like the every function that we every function can take in input. Okay, so here the car is taking in an input, like it needs the name and the current speed that it has, right? So similarly, increase speed is taking in an input of by how much, or you can name it any variable x, y, and z. Okay, you can even name it as x, y, and z. It doesn't matter. Okay, variable names are variable as the name suggests. Okay, so they need this value to operate. Like you cannot say just increase the speed. No, how much? Increase it by 10 kilometers per hour, 20 kilometers per hour, or something like that. So that's something. By how much do I need to increase? We are giving it through this. Okay, so anything that any value that a function needs to have in order to complete its purpose, we can pass it using this. This is called these are called parameters. Okay, so this is how a normal function looks. This bracket is used for passing the parameters. Parameters are things that a function needs to have in order to, yeah, in order to complete its task. Because see, it doesn't make sense if I make a variable called in by how much in the class car itself, because the variable high by how much is not constant, right? Like sometimes you can increase it by 5, sometimes you can increase it by 12 kilometers per hour. Okay, so it does not yes, so it makes more sense that every time you want to increase the speed, you take in the input ki ha, by how much do you want to increase the speed. Now did you like, is it clearer? mm, Subhiksha, yeah. So is it clearer now what the purpose is of that by how much? It's just a variable. Okay, but we are passing it to let the function know by how much I should increase or decrease the whatever it is doing. Okay. Subix. Okay, got it. So we will jump into actually connecting the layout with the code. Okay. So I'll be okay. Uh, let's go. Okay. So earlier, yeah, last time we had an image, we had a what do you say? We had a button, we had a text view, and things like that. Okay. Huh? Today we will connect this activity main. Okay. Let me just run this is the same code that I had written in the last session. Nothing, I have touched nothing. Okay, I'll just share the screen, phone screen. Okay, and I'll run the app for will execute in some time. It takes some time. Okay. So till now, does anyone have any doubts or anything by the time it loads onto my phone? No one, no one, no one. Okay. Either I am a very good teacher or I am the worst teacher ever. Okay. So this is my not so awesome layout that I had built last time. You will witness it in some time. Yeah, what if I want to code for buttons? Could you unmute and just say, I did not get your question exactly? Prachi?
यस सर
हाँ,
भैया लास्ट
yeah,
क्लास में मैंने एंड्रॉयड स्टूडियो में मतलब वो जो कोड जैसे हमने बताया था बटन्स हो या फिर लेस जो भी एक ऐप डेवलप करने के लिए, तो
हाँ,
फिर आपने डायरेक्टली उसको
yeah,
ड्रैग करके वहाँ पे वो ड्रैग करके आपने प्लेस कर दिया था। लेकिन अगर मेरे को उसको
yeah,
ड्रैग करने की वजह से कोड करना है, मतलब कलर चेंज भी
हाँ,
करना है बटन्स का एंड पैटर्न
yeah,
जो
okay. All right. Okay, huh, I'm just showing. I was going to show that. Last time it was not about actually getting into the code. It was more about making people comfortable. Abhi we will do that. Okay. And also we will link it like button pe tap karne se you actually do something. Okay. So it will interact rather than just view. Okay. So
मेरे
let's
एंड्रॉयड
start.
स्टूडियो में वो स्टाइल डॉट एक्सएमएल का ऑप्शन भी नहीं था जहाँ पे एक्चुअली
Style.x.
हाँ
We don't style.xml तक तो मैं गया नहीं था last time. I suppose.
नहीं आप नहीं मतलब था नहीं मेरे एंड्रॉयड स्टूडियो में ऑप्शन, इसीलिए पूछा।
नहीं but style.xml I never referred. कहाँ पे चाहिए हुआ वो?
वो मैंने एक ट्यूटोरियल देखा था, सो वहाँ पे।
Okay, style.xml is used. Okay, style defining styles. Okay, nice that you went that way. So res folder में values में there is no styles.xml for you.
नो यस इट वाजंट देयर, कलर्स था स्ट्रिंग्स भी था बट स्टाइल डॉट एक्सएमएल नहीं था।
Okay, it should be. I don't know. Maybe कुछ files का कुछ issue होगा. So what you can do is you can take a stock of styles.xml उनके Android के websites and you can just paste it here. It won't matter much. So the style that we define here is the style of the whole app itself. Okay, so and if you want to have some predefined styles for some buttons, let us say कि app एक तरफ जा रहा है and the button should have a style of its own. So you can make a style which is customized, which is only for buttons, and you can apply it to all the buttons. But that is something very advanced. Okay, but now last time whatever we did or what you are asking for, ki I want to code a button, you don't need styles for .xml for that. Okay, that is what I want to make clear. Okay, I assume that I cleared your doubt. Okay, there's okay, thank you. Huh. So mm, so now, okay, so as Prachi asked, we should code the A. So we can code it and we will code it. So I'll first remove this atrocity uh, and we will start with the text. Let's start with the text view. Suppose, so we dragged last time from here to here. Okay. But that can only get you started as an Android developer, but that will never help you get a job as an Android developer. Okay, so for yeah, you have to see. So what happened is here is that I actually cleared this out, but when I dragged, there is a code for text view. Okay, what I can do here is when I type here, yeah, it already shows me text view. It is suggesting me text view. I hit enter and it is giving me the attributes, the basic attributes that it needs. Okay. Now layout width and layout height. This is an important thing. So what happens is that any button that you have, uh, how do I say? Okay, so any button that you have, just let me Android, let me just make it wrap content and wrap content. Let me just first make it this, and then one. Okay, this is pure code that I have written, and now you can see that there is a button one over here, right? Hmm. So what is happening is that there is a parent-child relationship. Can you see here? Like the constraint layout is the parent, and inside it there is a text view. See, so this text view is surrounded by here is a constraint layout, the starting tag. This is the closing, and inside that there is a text view. So we can say that the text view is a child of constraint layout. Okay, and constraint layout is a child of the parent itself. Parent matlab our screen, the whole screen. Okay, so the constraint layout lies inside that our screen. And when we are saying ki layout width is match parent, we are basically saying ki take up all the space that your parent allows you. It is like having a single child. Okay, so take up all the resources, all the visual space, like all the real estate on your screen uh, uh, that is available with your parent. Okay, so constraint layout is the first layout that comes on our screen. So when we say that match parent, both the layout width and the layout height, we say that occupy the whole screen. Okay, now there is a text view in question here. So, and here text view has some text inside it, right? That is the content of that text view. I've written here button, it should be, let me write text view one. Okay, so there is some content to this text view, right? So if I say that the layout width should be match parent, it is taking up the whole space. You see, just to visualize it better, I can do it as a background as this. Okay, uh, something like this. Okay, so you can see that when I am saying that the layout width should match parent, what is the parent? Constraint layout. Constraint layout is matching its parent, which is full width. Text view, like father, like son, like parents, like son. Sorry. Okay, so it is also occupying the whole width. Yeah, but and likewise, if I do a match parent here, it will occupy the whole height also, because the height also I did match parent. Okay, but usually I don't think any app has a button that occupies the whole screen. So what happens is they use something called a wrap content. Okay, so the content in a screen, in a view, in this text view, is the text view one, is the text that I have provided to these people. Okay, so wrap content means just make the text view as big as the content has to take up the space. If I copy paste this text view, I've copied it and I paste it 10 times, it will just occupy as much space that is required to show this text view this many times. It will not take up a height more than what is required or anything less. Okay, so these are basically the two types of layout width and height that we said. You can also give a hard coded value like 200 dp, or yeah, but these are usually refrained upon because 200 in one device may not be equal to the 200 in another device. Okay, so usually what we do is, with respect to the parent or the content, we, yeah, so as Prachi had asked for button, we'll go for a button instead. Okay, so button, when I entered button, it is recommending me all the, it is why, what is DP and SP? Okay. If you go, if you type, okay, so when we go for text, that is text or something like that, we usually go for SP. Otherwise, we go for DP. So what happens is that every phone has a, we say that some phone have HD display, some have QHD display, some have partial HD, 720p displays. So things like that. What it basically means is that per inch, per physical inch on your phone, there are the number of pixels may vary. In flagship phones, that is 400, 450 plus. In the mid range 10, 15,000 phones, they are 250 to 300 pixels per inch. So what happens is that the measurements take place in terms of pixels in a phone or in a computer. Okay, so when so if I say that one you draw 200 pixels on a phone, if my phone has a pixel density of 200 pixels per inch, it will draw a line of 1 inch. Okay, but if a higher end phone, there are, the density is 400 ppi pixels per inch, it will draw half a inch line. Okay, because the is differing, the standard of measurement is differing. So that is, so this is what we call scaling up and scaling down. Scaling up is like scaled up, like 400 ppi is upscaled, 200 ppi is downscaled. So SP means scale independent DPIs. Okay, so that is usually made for text. So what it does is that it shows a text in like in smaller phones, the text will be look smaller. In bigger phones, the text will look proportionately bigger. Okay, so it does not depend on that. Similarly, DP is called density pixels, which handles the like as I said, the density varies from phone to phone. So DP is used for that. So basically, when you are giving some width and height to some image or some button or something, we use a DP. But that when we are giving the height to the size of a text, we use SP. Okay, but because we want it to scale up and down proportionately. Inches, millimeters, points, and pixels are not much in use. I will not go into that. I hope I cleared your doubt. Yeah. I guess otherwise you can just unmute and just speak up. Yes, thank you. So width and height. So I said na wrap content wala wrap content. So I'll do wrap content. Okay, this is the closing tag, that slash and angular bracket. And button. What does a button need to have? For now, we'll just give it a text. Okay, so the text, it is our button one. So we have a button here, right? So what happens is that, okay, so the code is ready, we coded something, yeah, but the position is like, where do we place the mm, chat? Yes, the link, the session is streaming on YouTube. The YouTube link is somewhere else. I'll just copy and paste it. This is the link. Okay, yeah. So we can code the button, but visually actually aligning it using just code is difficult. Oh, yeah, like you can do, but it is just okay. For point of reference, let me add a text view. Okay, text view, wrap content, and then I am just text. Okay, so the text view is here. Let us say, so sometimes it all the times it helps ki you give it a rough position by dragging. Okay, this is true even if you go for professional app development. Okay, so you can uh, like you can position it using this. And last time, as I had said, ki you can do the grunt work using this. Like, see, as I'm doing this, this is attaching constraints. You see, if I attach it, it will say constraint start and constraint end. So it is equivalent to adding the code, but adding this much code, this like dragging and connecting it here is better than adding this much code, right? So, so you can do this. And after that, if you want to fine tune something, you can fine tune it using this. So let me just give an example. Okay, so I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Yeah. So see, the button is here. So I connected everything, but the button is too far off from this text. I want it near to this text. Okay. So the is here. So I want it to be a bit on the high. So what happens is that there is a vertical bias that there is. Okay. What is vertical bias? If I keep the vertical bias at 0, it will go stick completely to the up. Okay, if I if I keep the vertical bias is 1, it will go completely down. Here is where the visual, like dragging and dropping, will not help. You have to hit and trial. So we knew that at 0 it is going up. So maybe I can try 0.1 or 0.2. Okay, so let me go for 0.15. And one more thing. Okay, YouTube, okay, अरे लेट हो गया. हाँ. हाँ. So, one more thing is that we have defined the position of a button with respect to this text view. Okay, we are not saying that like, see, this text view, we are saying with respect to the screen, it should be at this distance from the top and from equidistant from left and right, and this much distance from the bottom. Okay, this is an absolute definition that we have made with respect to screen, because screen does not change. Okay, but the button we have set its position with respect to the text view. Like, we don't care where the screen or what the screen is. We just want we should be equidistant from both the edges, and I should be at some this much distance from the text view. Like, I should be below the text view. What happens if I want to bring this text view somewhere down here? So ideally, you may think that first I will bring the text view down here, then I also have to bring the button down there. But that is not the case. Okay. So what happened? See, I just made the bias as 0.5. 0.5 means middle of the constraint. I brought it here. The button comes automatically here because it is set with respect to this text view. Are you getting the what I'm trying to say? Okay, so this fine tuning the UI needs playing with the code. Here there is a vertical bias. There's a horizontal with horizontal bias. Okay, 0.5. If I want to make it go to the left. Yeah. So what I have done here is I've just added a vertical constraint to this. Like, it is attached to this vertically. If I attach the horizontal constraint to it, okay, then no, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Uh, Wait, I'll just delete. For the time being, no, horizontal. Okay, that's a complex CA. I'll go for that later in the A. Okay, so you get the sense why we are using these constraints. When we are using these constraints, so with respect, we can define the position of a different one with respect to this one. Okay, there is something called a linear layout. So I can make this as a uh, linear layout. Okay, and see what it does. What linear layout does it? It will lay down all its child one after the other in the like one below the other. It does not care where how much space is there or what alignment is there. Okay, what linear layout simply does is it will throw one child with respect to other. It is helpful in some layouts, but it is not generally used. Similarly, there is something called a relative layout, frame layout, but the most that is in use is a constraint layout. Okay, so that is it. Now we will go to the code. Like we need, this is just the visual aspect. Okay, we need to change it to the we need to link it to the code. Okay, so what we do, see, there is a ID that is assigned here, text view 2. Okay, so in our code we recognize each UI element, each view, using what is called a ID. Okay, so text, I can this is a text view, so I can call it a TV text view. Okay, okay, I'll just link it again here. Sorry. Mm, okay, okay, so now here we don't have it defined, so oh, sorry. I will see uh, button. Okay. Yeah. So now if I go to my main activity, that is gone. Huh? So now did some. Mm, okay, just a minute. Okay. Mm, so what are you using? Huh? So we know that we have what we have a text view, we have a button, right? Remember when I said that you wanted to make an object of a class called car? Yeah. So we are going to do something similar. The objects are already built. When we say that we are making this, the objects are built. We need to find those objects. Okay, so they are defined in this activity main.xml. We need to find them, so we need them here. So anything, we define it as a text view 1. Okay, this is a very val. Okay, sorry, I made it a val. You can make it a variable text view 1. It will be of what data type? It will be a text view data type. Last time I said that there are int and there is a string, there is a boolean means true and false. Those are all data types. This variable will be handling a text view. This text view is also a data type. Okay, so find, so this is the thing. So we want the utility of this text view in our code. We want to manipulate this. Okay, so text view equals, what we do is find view by id r dot id dot, I had it as tv, right? I think. See, so this is the id, the tv we have written. I write it as tv. Okay, similarly, where button 1, it will be a button equals find view by id r dot id dot button. I think this is clear to all till now. Let me just connect any. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes, nice. Nice. Okay. So now you want to access the. Yeah. What can I do to show how it works? Let me think. Is the code case sensitive? The code is case sensitive. The variable names are not case sensitive. Okay, but code is always case sensitive. I don't know which language. Basic in GW basic the code is not case sensitive, but usually the code is case sensitive. Okay, so yeah, that answers your question. I'm trying to connect my phone. It got disconnected. Okay, okay. Ah, what do I do? I don't think my phone is connecting properly. Let me just, I want to run. What I'm thinking of doing is, see, there was, we are setting the text using this parameter, this thing called text. Okay. So if I want to set the text here, what I can do is remove this text. Okay, what I do here is text view1 dot text equals, okay, you get the, yeah, it is the same thing that we are doing. Only thing is that here we are uh, doing it programmatically, and because we are inside a Kotlin code, we can change it dynamically. Okay, so I don't know why it is not connecting. I'm trying to. I'll just allow. Yeah, it's on. Okay, so now let me run this. So what if you go inside the class text view? Can I go inside? Yeah. Okay, so I'm inside the class text view, as I had shown there, the class text view. Okay, so here you see there are some, this is written in Java. Okay, so you may not be, yeah, but if you want to access something, you call the, you use the dot, and yes, so suppose text. Okay, there are a lot of text here. Okay, now this, I'll, yeah, okay, so let me mirror this. I'll mirror my screen. Yeah, you see this text is set programmatically because this is where I set my text, and it is not defined in the here itself. Okay, so here now think what happens if I make a program where I can increase the value. I can change this text by tapping this button every time. Think we can do that, right? So what we can do is, let us say that we have a variable. Okay, where count equals 1. Okay, so what we will be doing is we will be increasing the value of this count with every press of a button. Okay, so we will set the text as count, and because text like the text view dot text will only take a string in, so count dot toString. Okay, and if I do this, it should show only one over here. Okay, it is applying the changes. Okay, see, it is one. Okay, it is very small. Let me just increase the size. Where is it? Okay, huh? So Android text size 24 dp. Yeah, now hello, am I audible?
अब भी आ रहा है।
अरे पूरा phone crashed. I don't know how, but phone completely crashed. Okay, so let me just share the screen again. Okay, so is it it's visible now? So let me set things up again. Hmm. Yeah. So if I run here now, it should show one. Okay. See, it is showing just one, right? So first thing is done. Now we want to know when the user is clicking on the button. So what we can do, so it is clicking on the user will be clicking on the button. We want to listen to the user clicking on that button. So there is a thing called on click listener. Okay, it's a that these are properties you just have to remember. Okay, button dot, oh sorry, button one dot, see here, here it is, so here there is a recommendation of set on click listener. Yeah, here. So what happens is that on click listener, so when I had said that dot is used to access any function or any variable of a a, so here when we are writing like this dot on click set on click listener, this thing will be executed every time the user clicks on the button. So any code that we write inside this block, these curly braces will be executed when the user clicks on the button. Okay, now we want to increase the count. Count equals count plus one. We are increasing, we are in, yeah, this is here. Okay, okay, so we have changed it. Now we have to set the text again now, because we have set the text once here. Okay, now we have changed the value, but the change of value will not reflect automatically. We have to again set the text of the text view. So text view one dot text equals count dot to string. That now we will run it again, and the behavior should be that on clicking button we will be increasing the hmm, what happened. Let's try it again. Yeah, so there is button one. If I see now, if I'm clicking on this button, the text is changing programmatically. Earlier, it was not changing, it was static. When we declare the text in this file, it is static. But when we are going for this, we are actually changing the text here. Okay, so you get how, so there are these things called listeners. Okay, listeners listen to any interactivity between the user and the interface that we are. So when you have to trigger something on a user touch or a user swipe or user close, we usually use a thing called listeners. Okay, so till now, does anyone have any? Yeah. So I am not saying ki you need to remember the syntax. Be very clear. Okay, syntax you will not remember. Even I don't remember the whole syntax. I just want you to remember this, the spirit of the code. Understand what we are writing. Okay. So when you see see some code, you know ki ha, this is how we'll be doing. Okay. So um, so yeah, so this is plus and minus. Any doubts till now? I'll just go to yeah otherwise. edit text. I'd like to show we will take text input next. कुछ भी नहीं. No, this is a fairly fairly advanced concept. No one has any doubts? I am having doubts now. Okay, cool. So we will now have a look at the edit text. There. Okay, we will now this we'll close this. We'll what do we do? What do we do? Okay, so can you to string? So I had said na ki data data types. I had told about data types. When we define a variable to have one kind of data type, it cannot, like if we say ki it should have a string like a name or something which has alphanumeric characters, it cannot take an integer which is 1 2 3 any whole numbers. Okay, so what is it that this variable called text in text view has a data type of string. Okay, so it will only take a string as an input. But count here we have, you see this count here, one is a integer here. So if we have to convert an integer to a string, we just write something called toString, the variable dot toString. Okay, so it converts that integer to a string. You can ask one thing, if I had written it like this is a string. So we don't have to see it become gray automatically because this is redundant. We don't need this. Okay, so this is okay. The thing is, we cannot do plus, minus, or any arithmetic operation on the string. So you see here, okay. So if we go for doing this count plus one, it makes no sense. Like for example, your name is Visakha. Visakha is a string. I do Visakha plus one. It makes no sense. Okay, so that is why we are keeping it as an integer, and when we have to like print it, it's not a number anymore. Yeah, it is treated as a grown up as a string. Okay, so yeah, so let us try to make a simple addition, like we enter two numbers and addition app. Okay, so what we can do is I just want to show the edit text part of it. It's not a number. Okay, so I want to show the edit text. How are we using edit text? Okay, so we clear the whole, let's clear the whole thing. So it will be wrap content. See, Android Studio does most of the grunt work for you. Once you get a hang of it, once you get the hang of it, you don't have to even remember. You start typing and it will start giving out the predictions, like suggestions, what you may be wanting to input. Okay, so there are a lot of parameters that a text view has. Here we are making addition of two simple what do you say, two numbers. Okay, so we want to input only numbers, right? So there is a parameter called input type. number. So what it will do is that when we open the keyboard, you will see that when you have to, sometimes you have to, when you have to enter an OTP, the whole keyboard will not open, only the keyboard where the numbers are there will open. Okay, so that is because we are defining something called an input type. These all things you can search for in the internet, you don't have to remember, or you don't have to panic that you don't know. Okay, with time you will know these things. Okay, so I'm just restricting it here, 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 and here, and this one I want somewhere over here. Okay, and now I will have there is a view called edit text. Okay, again, this will let me keep it wrap content. Yeah. Okay, let's not keep it wrap content. I'll keep it as 30. 50. Let us keep it 50, and dot background is mm, not as e- it's a bit grays. Okay, that is what I need. This is just a color code. Don't have to be terrified by it. Okay, you can find about color codes by looking at the net. Okay, so I have to edit text. Each text has to, everything has to be identified using an ID, as I had said. So ID this, we actually don't need an ID for this because we are not doing anything with the text view. It's just sitting over there. We need an, yeah. So for this we will have an ID. This is, let us say, edit text 1, and similarly we will have a ID for something called edit text 2. Okay, so now all we have to do is arrange them. So arrange them. So let me drag. So I'm dragging edit text 2 right now. So I know that it should be below this. I know that it should be to the right of this. I know that it should be okay. Similarly, I know that it should be like this. I know that it should be below this. I know that it should be constrained to this. Okay. I'll not, I'll remove this one. Oh no. I'll do this. I'll do this. Okay. Now I have to adjust uh, it here. I'm just roughly, I'm doing it roughly here and here. You see, these two are, I think, I don't remember exactly, but I think there is something here. No, okay, that is for something else, I suppose. Okay, so for now, you see here, when I click here, there is a 80 written over here. When I click here, there is a 60 written over here. Okay, I'll make it 80. This basically says that the distance from this border to this. Okay, nothing more. So yeah, that is, and then we need a button, right? We need a button. So edit text button. Then we will add a button. Button wrap content. Button will not have much exciting. It just needs to Android text add. Yeah, there's the add here. Maybe we will use this one under text view. Yeah, we will use this one to show the result of the addition. Let's use this one to show the result of the addition. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Not I changed that. Yeah, I need to change the this. Okay, result. And this add, I will add it somewhere here. It should be here. It should be here. Should be here. And it should be here. Something like this. Okay. So let's verify that the app is working or not first. And if it works, then we will go ahead with taking the edit text input. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there we encountered some issue. See, this is the issue. Like I had defined this now r.id.tv for the text view in the previous example, but now these things don't exist. That is why it threw an error. Okay, so I had to clear these things out first and then run. See, so see when I'm clicking here, I tapped on the left, I am tapping on the right. You can see the cursor blinking there, right? Yeah. So now we have this, and this. So we have four views. We need the we need of the four views the variables, right? So where let me take result text view equals it is a type of text view, and it is find view by id r.id dot what was the text view 3. Okay, it was text view 3. Okay. These ids you can set as whatever you want. Okay, edit text left edit text equals find view by r.id dot edit text 1. The left one is edit text 1. Similarly, I can do uh, edit text 2, and this is right. I'm accessing the left one and right one, and finally I need that button, the add the reference. Or let me uh, button equals find r the what was it named, the id I forgot. The okay, I haven't given an id to this now. I will give it an id. id is result button, let's say. Okay, result button and dot result button. See, I did not even type the whole thing. I just typed res and it gave me the suggestion result button. Okay. So now when I uh, click on add, what it has to do, like the when I so let's go along it step by step. Okay, when I click on add, it should fetch what is the value entered here, what is the value entered here, and then it should add, and then it should show the result in this text view, right? That is the flow. So as I said, first we need to know when the user clicks add, like first user enters. Okay, but the user may enter the number 10 times 20 times before actually pressing the button add. So listen, we can listen to all the changes that user makes like while entering, but it is not useful. Okay, because if they enter two numbers 2 and 3, but before entering add they change the number again, so our function will be called again unnecessarily. So we don't, so we are listening for the add. Okay, so here we go for add button dot set on click listener, set on click listener. Here we need the um, value of yeah of the left edit text for value, from whatever value is entered there, we need the value of that. So we will store that in a variable, let us call num1. Num1 should be an int. Yes, even if I don't write the int here, that is fine, but just for safety purpose I am writing int, because sometimes it happens is because of incompatible data types like string and int don't are not compatible. It may throw some error, so those kind of error will be shown before we run the app itself. Okay, so just to be on the safer side. Okay, equals edit text left dot text. See, so I want to access the text of the edit text left. So this is a string. That is why it is showing an error. See, okay, this is okay. This is a string. So how do I convert this from int to okay? Let me just search how to. This is one thing I don't even remember how it is done. So this is my browser has frozen or something. Okay, so sometimes you don't remember the uh, syntax and okay, so this is to int. Okay, yeah, so this is this var num2. Same thing, I'll just copy paste the code, copy paste num2 right. Okay, we have now the numbers from left and right. Now we have to answer equals num1 plus num2. Yes, now we will set the result text view dot text equals answer dot toString. Okay, so the flow looks like it should work. Will it work or not is what we have to see, because you can never be too sure that something is, yeah. So let us see. Yeah, so we will type 3 here, and we will type 6, and we will add. See, the result is 9. So what we did here, we took an input from the user. So we are reading the input while we just need to read the input when we enter the add. Yeah, we can also read it when we are like, see, there is also it there should be edit text left dot set uh, see there is also a on click listener over here in edit text, but it is not serving any purpose for us right now, so we are not setting it. Okay, but here what we did is a truly interactive app. We enter 3 6 and then we add two numbers and 9. If I change this 3 to 34 and I hit add, this is giving us 40, which is again a proof that our app is interactive and it is not static. We are changing the text on the go here. Okay, so any doubts till now? This is like the This is anything. Did you all understand? There are not many people here, but still. Yes, no, anything in the chat or unmute yourself or just speak up. I feel like I'm teaching to an empty classroom now. Hmm? Uh, okay, got it. Okay, thank you, Aditya. Thank you. I thought no one is there, so I was starting to think, am I teaching to no one? Okay, so got it. So there are a lot of such ways where lot of such views where you can get the input from. So this is one kind of input that we worked with. If I go to the design, there is something called a switch on off. Okay, so now if I throw in a switch here, this is a different kind of a input, right? So switch. I'll go to the code. I'll go to the code. Uh, I don't. What should I toggle? Okay. Let us say enable disable. Okay. So this is whether the add button is enabled or it is not enabled. This is a very silly example, but an example nevertheless. So what it should happen is, if the button is disabled, the add function should not work. Okay. So let us see. So let us store. Okay. So ID is switch one. The ID is switch one. So we will var switch button switch find ID sorry, what happened? Okay. So r dot id dot switch one. Okay. So I don't know the how do I get the value, but I'll still yeah. Where no. Let me see. Switch button dot text on. So text switch. Oh, see, I'm just going. Mhm. Let me go through it. Okay, if I don't know the documentation, I can just take a look at the yeah, because if you want to explore things that you don't know, switch you can just go and see what are the toggle buttons. Okay, see switch here. There's a switch. So this is from Android developer Android, or you can go for a tutorial. Let's see. Controls that as the on off. Okay. Okay. D. Get check. I think maybe get check. No, there's nothing called get check. Okay, so I have to, yeah, find is checked. Okay, as simple as that. Is checked. So is, if it is checked, then it is switch button is checked. So let me, so it will give us a true or false. Uh, is checked. This will be, mm, yeah, this will, right. Okay, so I had told you about conditional button. If else, if is checked is true, then it will execute this. Else, let's show a toast. Okay, context. Uh, and so you don't need to worry about this. This is something called a toast that you will see probably now. Okay. Okay. Application context. Okay. So let's try this out. Which is something I haven't used in a long time. I don't remember the year. Okay. So if it is enabled right now. It is enabled right now. So if I 6 plus 8, if I add, okay, sorry, it's the other way around. No, I am doing something wrong in the logic. Okay, I got it wrong. See, this is a logic. Sorry, this is a logical error that I am facing. So the user should click always, but if he has not enabled it, it should never. If it is checked, then it should go ahead. Else, it should make text. Um, okay, now it should work. Okay. Okay, so now let me do, okay. See, this is disabled, like it is off. So I should change the text to disable slash enable uh, to make more sense out of it. Yeah, so disable slash enable. So if it is disabled, then or you switch it off. If you want to enable the, yeah, you switch it on. So when we clicked on add, then when we clicked on add, then it did not show the result because this block of code never got executed. It asked the switch button, which is this, if it is checked. Okay, if it is checked, yes. It said no, I'm not checked. So this if statement is executed only if this thing says true. It's not true. So it shows this toast. So what is a toast? A toast is this message that you see. It pops up like a toast in a toaster and vanishes. Okay, so that is why this is called a toast. So, but if I enable this and now I add this, it is showing me the answer. I again disable this. I again add this. It's again saying disabled. Okay. So there are a lot of ways where you can take inputs. This is one way. How this is a new way, which I was also a bit uncomfortable using because I haven't used it in a long time. Okay. So there are more things like a radio button. There must be somewhere like a radio buttons are very deceptive. Okay, so radio, wait, let me just Google search and show it to you. Radio buttons are something like this one. Options like this, these are called radio buttons. Okay, so you can take, yeah, so it will be impractical for me to teach everything, every kind of input and how to handle, but this is the gist that you can take away with you, how to take in inputs and how to listen to clicks and things like that. Okay. mm, yeah, so there is, so let me just see what am I. So if, in the track that you will be doing, you will be calculating tip. Yeah, this is a tip calculator. Things are more organized here, like he is doing in a better way. I think you can understand. They will be using some advanced tool, some advanced, yeah, some better practices. Okay, so create a more polished. So I am not yeah about these things. I believe you can understand on your own. So I have just given you the tools, the means to understand how to. Okay, so like Android study jam. So this is one part of it, and the next part of it is a recycler view. Okay, so recycler views are something which you use to show lists, any kind of list that you see in your Android app is using something called a recycler view. Okay. Um, so there is a track for this as well. Recycler view, you don't have to understand it complete, like you don't have to understand the code bit by bit. I will just explain how and what recycler view, why is it called recycler view. For you could have called it a list view. There is something called a list view, but recycler views are more used than list views. I just explain you the why of it and the concepts of it, and the code I believe you just have to follow, and you will be copy pasting the code for a long time. Okay, recycle view, the code itself is very it's kind of big. It's not a one line, two line code. Okay, so it's fine if you copy, if you just search for a recycler view example kotlin and copy it. Okay, so yeah, so let me, so uh, okay, so create see, so there are a lot of here. I'm bit more comfortable with Java, old school. Okay, so I'll just explain you. So what happens is that, see, let us say this thing over in the, yeah, no, not this thing, sorry. This one, yeah, I have my screen running. Nah. So let us say any kind of list should work, right? So let's say my settings, where is my settings? Settings app. This is a list, right? What you see, every item here, like all these are items in a list, but in this list has some 10-15 items here, right? This one, then this one, connected devices, and yeah, but at a given time there are only 4 to 5 items visible on a screen. As I go up, Some items pop in, some items are removed from the screen, right? So what recycler view does is that it only computes those items which are to be on the screen. So for example, you have a list with 1,000 items, so it will not take up that much space. It will only take space for the 5 or 6 items that are to be viewed. The computation power used will be less. Makes sense, right? So that is the spirit of recycler view. But the code of recycler view is pretty daunting. That is in the task itself. So you just have to go through the instructions that they give. Okay. Let me see if I can find the assembling. No, okay. So recycler view, I think it will be better if you can just go through. There is a image of it. Yeah, see. So this is how a list looks like. So there are these views which are actually on the screen, and there is a view that is out. There's a outside the screen. They are not rendered. Android, the operating system does not compute those things. Okay. So, and one thing that you see, if you see in the settings, disconnected again. Okay, let me try connecting it again. There are some jargon. There is some jargon over here. So there is a view holder. Oh, sorry. There is something called a view holder over here. There's an adapter. Yeah. So what is it? Let me demystify it for you. So when you read the instructions, you will hear. So when you see this list is more or less homogeneous, right? So this thing is an this thing is a item, and this is a list of those kind of items. Each item has a icon. There is a primary text and there is a secondary text over here. It repeats throughout. Okay, so using that concept of classes and making objects, as I said, like the class I made, and then there are objects. You can make a class which defines the layout, just this layout, and you can make different objects in which you define different icons, different names, and different subtitles. See, different title and different subtitles. I hope you get the sense of it. Okay, so that is what a view holder does. Okay, so that thing is the fancy term for it is view holder in terms of recycler view. Otherwise, you can call it a class and object concept only. But for recycler view, it is called a view holder. Then sometimes there are like you download some data from the internet, right? So there's a list of cities in India, let's suppose. So when you get the data from internet, it has to make it usable. The data from that comes through the internet is not usable. You need to make it usable. So what it does is that it takes the data. Let us say in this case only, we are getting this data from the internet. Okay, so what we are getting, we are getting an icon, we are getting a heading and a subheading. Okay, what the adapter will do is it will assign this icon to this place, the title to this place, and the subtitle to this place for each object. As you can see here, we are assigning the text like this, right? So it will also and this is programmatic. In XML you cannot change the text programmatically. It is static. Once you define it, it is defined, you cannot change it. Okay, but here you are changing it programmatically. So similarly, it is the list will be fetching from the internet, then it will programmatically assign whatever is required wherever it is required. Okay, and it will, so The adapter works with the view holders. Adapter is the data who procures and processes the data. It works with the view holder, which is holding this structure, the skeleton of the item, and they combine to give out a view. And a list of these views is what you call a recycler view. The views are recycled because in a given setting only 5 6 a limited number of items are only shown, so the rest of the items are not read. So see, if you see, the Google item is slowly raising its head and the battery item is slowly going. So basically, Google, the view of Google is getting computed in the same computation space where this view of the battery was getting computed before. Okay, so that it is recycling the memory that was otherwise to be used for computing that small bit of here. It may not sound like much, but if you have big lists, then it will lag if you use a list view, general list view. Okay, that is why recycler view is being used. That is the sense of it. And when you go through the code, I am hopeful that you will understand why an adapter is used, why a view holder is used, and things like that. So I think with that, we have completed the track. Uh, Anything like you have time here, you can complete it whenever you want, and you can get in touch with us and ask questions. Anything, it is completed abhi bhi, you don't have any doubts? Anyone just say something?
Understood, भैया.
Understood. Okay, bas sabas.
Yeah, I
Nice.
have one doubt. Yeah, you
Ha,
used that keyboard type. You said special keyboard with only numbers will appear,
ha,
but
ha.
the
Arre,
default one appear.
that is actually, I think, an issue with my phone itself, because I don't use Android. I use a custom built Android. Experiment करता रहता हूँ basically. Okay, so this is not the
Oh,
OS that had come with the phone. मैं अपने से थोड़ा change करके experiment. This is a 4-year-old phone. Okay, but I am running Android 10 on this. So I experiment on this. So sometimes it happens कि things don't work properly. But yeah, I can show you one thing actually. I can show you one thing. Input type में, let us say that while doing this edit text, you are actually entering a password. ये बस use case है. Okay, so let me increase the width of this to 150, and you are entering a password. Wait, यहाँ पे number कहाँ पे लिखा हूँ मैं? Input type तो नहीं दिया हूँ? No, I haven't. Okay, okay. I think now it should. Okay, I haven't. Input type number. Input type number. And I think the code was missing. Okay, मैं बेकार में दोष दे रहा था. Okay, I was thinking what happened then. Okay, so okay, इसको ये करते हैं. Run it again. Let's see, run होगा फिर से. Okay, so in understood almost. हाँ, almost is good enough, because 100% अगर सीख जाते लोग तो सब मेरे से ही सीखना शुरू कर देते app development. But as you can see, even I don't remember some of the things, and that is fine. Programming में you don't remember everything. Okay, see, number आया ना?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, okay, मैं कोड भूल गया था, इसका लिखा नहीं था. So this is, yeah, because if you enter characters over here, वहां पे the issue was, अगर मैं ABCD टाइप करता, it will throw an error while adding. There is a way to handle that also. Okay, error handling भी है. There are a lot of things in app development. Okay, so yeah, see here. I wanted to show, for example, let's say कि we are input type is no Android or इसका okay input type is we are entering a what is the year? I don't remember. So what it basically does is that वो asterisk की dot दिखा देगा instead of the text password. Sorry. Okay. So if I run this, just for an example's sake, it will obscure the text. Number है अभी fine. But see, if I type as I go on typing, it is hiding the text. Okay, so things like this are ये बहुत है. You cannot explain it all in ये ना. So yeah, okay. और कुछ you try things out. You can make more interactive. It can be as simple as a calculator abhi. Okay, or something. Mm, but you can take inputs and process things now. Okay, so अगर recycler view समझ में नहीं आया, so you don't have to rush it. You can take your time. फिर भी समझ नहीं आया तो करो, message करो, we'll look into it. Okay, because it took me a lot of time to understand, but truly understand what recycler view is. But otherwise मैं copy कर देता था code, and even if you copy it, it's fine if you know how to make it work. Okay, और कुछ? Any more doubts? Okay, I would again like to just repeat that we will be giving out stickers and certificates to whoever completes it. Even if you don't complete, you just get in touch with me. We'll consider if we can give out the certificates. Okay, and if you publish a decent enough app, I'm not saying you make the next $1 billion app, but if you can come up with something good look, decent looking, not the best looking, yeah, with some basic interactions, then we would be more than happy to publish it on our own Play Store. Okay, giving you the complete credits with the due credits. Okay, because it's a pay, like you cannot publish it for free, you have to pay a licensing fee, but we already have an account, so we can publish it for you. Okay, so you can add it to your portfolio or share it in your LinkedIn. Okay, so with that, we will be wrapping up this track. We will be starting prior to programming experience, the PPE track from 9th, I suppose. I'm planning to start it from 9th. We will be going into more advanced concepts there, where like life cycle management, and then databases, like how can you store data inside there, and way more complex use cases. Okay, so if you want to continue with this, you can sign up for this. We'll make an event and we'll send out the invites today or tomorrow perhaps, and you can, and to make that fruitful, you just practice whatever you have learned here. कितने दिनों का टाइम है ऐप you make it ये 1 month 2 months there's no ये or 1 week we are open okay there's no time limit like other clubs हाँ even year round भी अगर if you to send us we will be happy to publish the app or we'll be happy to help you as well अभी study jam हो रहा है बोल के you can reach out to us वैसा कुछ नहीं है you have our contacts you can ask us anytime we'll help you out okay we may not be free but we will make sure we help you out huh? or what do I so if you want to continue on this you can join the advanced track and Kotlin is a very vast language. There is, I'll be sharing the links with you. There is for Kotlin का vocabulary बढ़ाने के लिए तुम लोगों का. Okay, बहुत सारा चीजें, बहुत सारे concepts है, lists. I did not tell you about lists and ये, but there's only so complete in a single day, right? Abhi it's already 2 hours. More than 2 hours करने से it will not be fruitful. Okay. So anything shall we you सबके पास तो वैसे भी नंबर है और you message on Instagram someone messaged on Instagram so you can get in touch with us okay so shall we stop here I assume I'll take that as a yes unless someone says something
Bhaiya, what about Flutter? Will learning this help in Flutter?
Flutter okay so professionally I am a Flutter developer okay like Android is but I started out as a Android yeah, native Android करके ही I started out and if you want to be a Flutter developer again you can start as a developer but if you want to be a solid developer solid Android developer or a solid iOS developer you need to know the basics of app development okay this is how any framework will work and not just app development any development if you go for web development as well you will see the same opening tag closing tag attributes and then yeah, okay so things like that so uh, because abhi you are getting used to programming first okay programming is this paradigm called app development जो हम स्कूल में करते थे कि we what we will do in our basic programming labs in first year they are not oriented towards software development they are just problem solving skills they improve your problem solving skills but yes how can you deal how to deal with views the UI input how to take the input कैसे flow में उसको ये करना है so things like that I think personally कि first you should understand some basic of Android फिर you go to Flutter and when you go to Flutter you will appreciate the things Flutter में but also there are huge limitations in Flutter which you cannot overcome if you don't know Android ऐसा नहीं कि Flutter standalone पूरा काम कर लेता है नहीं करता you have to write some code in Kotlin as well to overcome those things जैसे कि notifications very common but in Flutter you cannot implement notification you have to come to this native Kotlin code to implement notification फिर दोनों मिल के काम करते हैं is a good app और machine learning models they don't work in Flutter natively तुमको Android में ही करना है what Flutter does is कि वो it just makes things look beautiful and UI develop करने के लिए बहुत सही है because से कम lines of code में ज्यादा achieve कर लेते हो but computation processing का काम करने से नहीं है जैसे कि image filter अप्लाई करोगे कि स्नैपचैट का फिल्टर अप्लाई करने जैसा कुछ नहीं होगा फ्लटर में because they are compute intensive so everything has its own benefits and ये ना pros and cons तो उसके हिसाब से but I would recommend कि you don't have to be a pro developer okay just basics सीखो and if you want you can explore Flutter as well फिर you make your choice okay
Okay.
so how did you learn about Flutter सुना कहाँ से
Well, actually, I was into web development earlier. I learned React. Then I heard about
okay
cross-platform apps.
हाँ तो नहीं तो if you know React why don't you look into React Native React Native is very good. It's on like Flutter का equivalent ही है. And
Yeah,
because
but
React, yeah, हाँ बोलो.
Flutter is newer and more performant, I heard. Slightly.
उतना but नहीं न्यू का this is not a phone that जितना नया उतना अच्छा. Okay,
Yeah.
React Native is there since 2015 in production, and it is a very mature framework. Facebook made that ना, React भी बनाया है, React Native भी बनाया है Facebook. Okay, and it is very mature as a cross platform framework. Flutter तो अभी 2018 में आया beta version. Okay,
Yeah.
so I am saying I like Flutter, but because you come from a React Native background, a React background, you will like next to none learning curve होगा. Same logic use करके तुम बना सकते हो React Native app. Flutter क्या
Yeah.
सीखना पड़ेगा बोल रहे हो ना? React Native सीखना नहीं पड़ेगा. You have already learned how to make React Native apps. Okay, so I will recommend just have a look. इतना ये.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. और कुछ? Any question?
नहीं.
अभी ना सबके लिए बोल रहा हूँ. There are 6 participants. 6 में से मैं अभिभाव अपना है. Yeah, 4 people are there. Okay, so okay, so we'll call it a day.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye. All the best.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Even though it was a slim crowd, I tried to explain like I'm teaching a whole classroom. Okay, thank you. It means a lot to me. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night. Bye.